Hey y'all, we are back. I don't even know if that picked up. Hey y'all, we are back. And on point as usual.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
got John with us, got Brian with us, got me, James. Today we are talking spring theories. Where they're coming from, where they're going to, what we're looking for, how we're fishing it.
Yeah,
Everything spring-wise.
it's coming.
Before we get into that, John was courteous enough to take my boat up to get it washed out
Yes.
for the green tag for Berryessa,
Yep.
because our next tournament's in 2 weeks, and then our following tournament after that is Berryessa.
Yes.
Correct. How'd that go, John?
It went extremely well, actually. It was sort of the unknown, but it went very simple. The people were super nice. I was like 30 minutes early to my appointment, but the boat ahead of me wasn't there yet, so they just let me come on in and simple couple questions.
Like what kind of questions are we talking about?
Zip code, last place the boat was on the water.
Okay.
Then they said they wanted me to go get the live well lids open and the back compartment lid open. And in the meantime, they were they pulled the motor toter off, and I could hear him talking to the guy, like explaining what he was doing, like maybe a guy in training, and telling him, hey, make sure you put the toters on the back deck so we keep track of it. Super smooth. They hopped up. The first thing they did was they started. This one caught me off guard, not off guard, but because I wasn't sure what it was going to be. I thought they would put the plug in the boat to put hot water in the boat. Actually, they left the plug out, flushing the system, the bilge, and the one person on the outside was holding a temp gauge to monitor the temperature of the water coming out the bilge to make sure it reached optimum temperature. I think 120 is about what they were talking. And then he got in the live wells, and I watched him. He did a real thorough job, almost with like a sprayer, and was just really clean the live wells real well. Then he had me circulate the live wells, run the aerators. And then after that, they just hooked up the hose to the motor and fired the motor up. And same thing, they were using the temp gauge on the water. I don't know what the correct term is, but the P stream, I don't know what you call it.
The indicator stream.
The indicator stream. But anyway, they were monitoring the temperature because they want to make sure they reach the correct temp coming through the motor. After that, that was it. Very, very, very simple.
Took about 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was quick, 15, 20 minutes, and it was all over. And the people were great. And it was fine.
I know that the appointment was at 9:30.
Yeah.
And I had a text message go off because it was linked to my account. Text message go off at 9:15. Oh yeah, you're already done. Here's your tag. And I was like, oh dang, he's already done.
No, it was quick. It was quick. They just hopped in there, took care of business. It went faster than I thought. It wasn't not a big deal. And I highly recommend people heading that way to get up there, make an appointment wherever they're doing it, because what is it, the 7th? April 7th, I believe, is the day they're going to start charging. Because right now, up to that point, it's free. But
April 6th will be the last free day. April 7th is the first charging day.
Yeah.
They said that the charging is anywhere from $20 to $200 depending on your boat.
Yeah, and that's sort of, and nobody really had a real clear picture of. I mean, I'm picturing the $20, $25 boat being an aluminum boat with nothing, no live wells, and then as you move up the scale, the money goes up. But
my guess is it's going to be somewhere in that $80 to $100 range.
Yeah, I think so too. And So hopefully, so tomorrow morning I'm heading up there with my boat for the hot wash, and I'm praying it goes as smooth as yours did, and I'm sure it will.
It should.
Yeah,
It
I
should.
should go. So yeah, get up there and get it done.
Get out on Barry.
What's that? Yeah, if you want
To
to
get out on Barry, because
yeah.
what's starting to happen right now?
Springtime. Topic of today.
Yeah.
Springtime.
We got a couple comments already tagging in though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Matlock checking in
Hey,
from Washington D.C.
Whoa,
World traveler.
he is a
That's,
world traveling kind of guy right
That's
there.
almost literally completely across the country.
It's way over there.
Yeah,
Long drive.
like
It
you
is.
can only get a little bit farther by going to Maine from that point.
Yeah.
Get on a boat.
What are the other
Lobster.
comments?
Ron Burgundy.
Oh, Ron Burgundy.
Whammy.
Wham.
He asked maybe someday Ron Burgundy and Champ Kine can get a guest speaker. Guest speaker too out here.
It would be kind of interesting to figure out to what their take on fishing is.
Yeah, like if we took them both, like
Yeah,
one take one and one take another.
that's what we should do. We should do like go fishing for a weekend, and then come back and talk about the weekend.
Yeah.
Right afterwards. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
That would work.
That'd actually be pretty fun. I like that idea.
Yeah, we should do it.
I'm a little worried about the YouTube censorship. But other than that,
that'll be fine.
As long as they're not 3 or 4 baits deep, they'll be all right.
yeah, it's the baits deep part that's the problem.
Being based deep.
What else we got?
Ron said he hopes he doesn't fall off the boat, which he almost did last time.
He did bend my steering wheel
He did.
last time. It's bent back. It's fine.
What's going on, Getsy?
Getsy's in there.
Marlon.
Ryan,
What's the Tom Smith's got one. We'll talk about that for a second.
Okay, so what's your take on the forward-facing sonar? Now, after the classic, do you think KVD retired? He spent 50 years learning. He had a fish, and he started getting beat by kids.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say for that one. Go watch BTL from today, Easton Fothergill's interview, and tell me that his thought process is just some average high school kid. Watch it end to end and tell me your thought process. There are some things that he said that I've never thought about. I'm over 40 and I've never thought of it. And I've been fishing since I was 3.
Yeah.
There were some things that he was doing to trigger bites and to do things that I honestly am going to put in my back pocket.
Right?
With that, look up Easton Fothergill's resume, what he has won and where he came from. And you're going to understand why he won that classic.
Yeah.
He's not just some kid that just graduated high school, jumped into college. He's been doing it for years and winning along the way to get there. It's not.
it's just
I think
it's
a
in his-
lot
it's
of
in his DNA, man.
I think
like
a lot of things
KVD
are
was.
getting blamed on forward-facing sonar,
That aren't.
and it's not. I'll tell you this. I can take, no offense to John, but I can give him my boat with forward-facing sonar.
And that's
That's not going to make him instantly win a Bassmaster Classic.
nope,
Unfortunately,
nope.
I would love it.
You're
They
right.
all have it. Even
Yeah.
the one guy who held out and didn't put it on has it on his boat now.
Yeah, why not?
Now, the part of the beating his weight on that, everyone said going into this one that if someone can get the full 3 days of limits, they will likely beat the weight.
Just
Because-
from location.
Just the location
Yeah,
itself.
that-
The lake
that's-
itself is known for not very many fish, but big fish when you
Yeah.
catch them.
Yeah, that ain't a surprise to me at all.
Does forward-facing sonar help the kids, help the younger generation learn faster because they're no longer waiting for magazines or anything else? And does YouTube help all the information? What you're
Absolutely.
watching this on right now, Does all that information sharing help? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. It's like being in a network that you're not even in a network.
Yeah, I literally breathe fishing, like every minus
Work.
Cletus McFarland, minus his show, which is drag racing and other car related stuff. Used to be Hoonigan, like minus a couple of things. I pretty much only watch or listen to fishing 24/7.
Yeah,
and it's
And
all
it
YouTube.
pays off. Look how well you guys do. You know, you guys
And
put the work in, the time and effort, and it pays off.
And I was a nobody before I started doing that, and it's all through YouTube.
Yeah, it's.
I also got a question. Do you think Delta is on the down cycle sea lions?
I think the sea lions are a problem. Because they used to come in and go out. There was years that they were in a lot more, though, right?
Yeah.
No, you know what? They were never in like. Well, I mean, time flies. The past 10 years has been bad, real bad.
Yeah.
No more. I remember years ago, it would be like there'd be like 2 or 3, very few,
When
they would
striper
leave.
ran,
yeah, like a striper run, they'd come up. Now they're not leaving, and they're just. I was in the Delta 2 years ago, right outside of Fisherman's Cut, on the main channel side. There's big buoy things out there. There had to be between the 2 buoys. I bet there was 15 seals and sea lions stacked up, just sunning. And it's like, I mean, it's crazy how many's out there.
I think there's a couple of them, a little pot of them or whatever they're called, that figured out you could live in there year round.
Sure.
And now they're just procreating and
Well,
growing their
and
family.
they have no. The only threat they have is man. You know, if they don't get hit by a boat or shot, there is nobody going to mess with them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
And it is a felony to shoot them.
Yeah. You know, they don't have to worry about it, man. That's a free for all for that. That's a smorgasbobs, man.
Yeah.
Red Green 125 Miller said, "What's up?"
Oh, what's happening, kid? That'd be my niece.
Oh,
Hey,
hey, what's happening? So
Also, Marlon tags in. Did you say that?
Yep.
Getsy tags in.
Yep. And Ron Burgundy doesn't want to try to fall off the boat again.
Yeah,
I said that one.
bungee cords.
So let's get into it.
To get into the meat and the taters.
So
Mean tater.
what is happening right now with the weather? Where are
We
at?
don't know.
It's all over the place.
Weather can't make up its decision.
No.
Snowing one week, and it's 80 degrees the next week.
Yeah.
But where is it going? It's
We
got to go
slowly-
somewhere,
It's slowly going to the warming trends,
which would start what?
which would start your spring, which we're already, I would say we're probably mostly through mid-spring at this point. We're not really like in that whole winter to spring transition. Like we're
think-
closer to the actual spring. Like
Do you think the water's warming enough that it's a more of a spring?
I think if the weather would make up its mind, they'd be on beds within a week.
Yep.
I bet you there was bedfish caught. I may have seen videos Monday and Tuesday
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
in this area.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I saw some of those too.
So they are, and just knowing where they were at Clear Lake this last year or this last weekend, just seeing their progression at Clear Lake, I guarantee you there's bedfish, or there's at least beds made. Whether they're fully bedded and locked and all that, they're at least made.
Yeah, they're within a couple of 3 days of super nice weather. They're going to be big waves are coming.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
a little bit of that weather. So we can talk a little bit about the weather. So I actually think that there are times where the weather going up and down, for instance, going to the snow and then going back to 80 degrees will actually help your bite as long as you're on the 80 degree side.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yep.
If you're on the snow side, maybe not so much. You're probably going to get some big girls to go because when that storm came through, there was definitely a lot of big girls posted, like especially Clear Lake. But what I think it lets it do is because if you have a warming trend, they push up. That snow comes in, that shallower water gets too cold, they pull back out, and now they meet two waves together, and then the warm weather comes in, and that wave together pushes up with one behind it.
Right.
So you start stacking things up with those weathers, it starts like grouping the fish together. Is that great if you can't find the groups? No, it's horrible.
Yeah, it was.
If you happen to stumble on a group, it's great.
Right.
But it causes zero in heroes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is the frustration of this time of the year.
Yeah. Spring's interesting. Like I said, the bed fishing time of year too, looking for them. Low light. Well, if you could, the best scenario is if you can go locate them the day before your event.
Yeah.
And just find them. Go looking. Don't even make a cast. Go see what you can see what you can find.
See where they're at.
See where
right?
they're at. And if they're
So-
not on the beds, you got to figure out, because they're going to be close. They're not going to be out in the middle of nowhere. Or, there's going to be fish in that 5 to 10, just right there, ready to go.
This is the reason why I say, like you're saying, the reason why I say this is getting closer to the spring size is I'm not going to winter spots and then working my way to spawn spots. I'm going to start at the spawn spots and work my way back towards winter spots.
Yeah.
It's closer to the spawn areas than it is closer to the winter spots.
Yeah. I was trying that at Clear
so
Lake.
You're saying you're going to go more to the backs of stuff and start working out.
Flat pockets. I'm going to find the outcroppings, the
Trees.
trees, the rock, the weeds, the whatever structure they want to relate to. And that could include drains, like the bottom of a pocket. So even if there's rock and stuff like that that's up along that shoreline, the very bottom middle pocket, they could be there too.
Right? Oh yeah.
You gotta move around, right? Like there's no like, oh, they'll be on this exact rock or they'll be on that tree.
Yeah. It's an interesting time. It's a fun time. And you just got, like say last year, I got caught off guard in the April tournament. I got fooled. And so you got to be careful because things change in a hurry this time of year.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because where I was looking, they were not on beds the Wednesday. And Saturday, I went out fishing more, and the fish we were catching were out. When I mean out 6 to 10 foot deep. And we did pretty good. And then tournament day, the first day we went out and struggle. And then when I came back to a area we did pretty good, I'm going, gee, why are the boats in 2 foot of water? Like, oh, whoops, John, you blew that one. They were all pulled up on the beds, and it was a really bad first day. So
my general rule of thumb for this time of the year, especially when in a couple weeks, is if I'm catching them in here and then I come back and they're not there, I go towards the spawn, like go towards the flats, go towards that, instead of going back towards deeper, even if the weather doesn't seem like it's right.
Yeah, I just made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And I started,
I've done that enough times.
And you know what's funny for me, and this is really threw me a curveball, is I love fishing the east side on Berry. And I didn't even really pre-fish it because I sort of know where I like to fish. And me and my partner decided to run straight to the east side and start fishing my favorite stuff. And we spent this might sound crazy, we spent 4 hours and never got a bite.
Been there.
I just knew they were there, and they were not there. They were a little further up to the bank, and I just missed it.
Yeah.
Just totally missed it.
Oh, it's hard when you don't get a clue to chime you in on where you need to go. It's hard to pick it back up,
right?
Because you don't have a clue to go from.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny too about Berryessa for me is I've always done better being a Carolina rig guy. For me, my better years when the lake is low, because it eliminates the trees. It eliminates seriously. It might sound funny.
It cuts down your lanes of opportunity.
Exactly, and it cuts down on the boat pressure.
Right.
It's like a lot of times on the east side, I wouldn't have near the boats with the lake down because not a lot of people just want to be out there dragging around in that 4 to 8 foot of just boring
Nothing
flooded
else.
tree. Yeah, and
I will
that's where I
say-
like to fish.
I will say that overall water level of the lake changes where they spawn first. Like it'll move an area. So you'll have an area that's over here that spawns first. And then the next year the water's dropped down, doesn't get back into the trees, doesn't get back into
Right.
that rock or whatever. And this one spawns first. Like it does shuffle it. Now, ballpark areas, the ballpark areas are the same, but the individual areas seem to change.
Yeah, it changed
That
big
I've
time.
found.
It changed big time for me. It was interesting, and luckily we put it together well enough the last couple hours that the following day, even though we didn't come across,
It's something to work
I
on.
saw 4 to 5 pounders, but they weren't locked. But we were able to go get 12, 13 pound limit and have a fun day bed fishing. So it was cool. The next day was fine, but yeah, it's an interesting time of year because things can change literally in a day, in an hour, couple hours, it could change.
Yeah, that same tournament, I saw, I don't know how many fish locked on beds Friday. Saturday rolls around, they are gone.
Oh, that's
Cannot
right. I remember
find
that.
them.
I remember that. Yeah.
Sunday, I come back and they're there, but they're skittish. They're not locked.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang it. So I had to like run all new water.
And I believe our weather was fairly stable. Was it?
It was
No,
hot.
there was a hiccup
can't remember.
Friday
But
night.
it wasn't bad, right?
There was a
it?
wind. There was a bunch of wind or something like that on
Oh, okay.
Friday night.
Okay.
The overall temperature kind of was the same, but there was something that happened
Mm.
Friday night. And I remember the only reason why is because I remember when I was at home
Mhm.
right before, I was like, this might not be good.
Yeah.
And then Saturday when I went back there and I saw everything empty and they were like
Mhm.
locked where you could like one cast them, I was like, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
And then I went, we're revamping everything, and then just threw everything from pre-fish out and started over.
Yeah, that's sort of what I had to do. You know.
All right, so springtime. What are we throwing? What are you guys going to? What are we putting together?
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
I asked you guys this question.
Oh,
Oh.
he's gonna throw a Ned rig and an A rig
No, there's
That's
there's
it.
one more thing I'd throw.
and a drop shot.
One more thing I'd throw.
What's that?
Bluegill.
A little bluegill?
That little sleeper gill, bluegill.
Ah,
I'm gonna throw that.
yeah.
Because even if they're in that frame, they hate bluegill around them.
Yeah.
So I'm
What
gonna
happened
probably.
to what happened to lizards?
I know there.
Everybody
I
used to
have
throw
them.
lizards
I have
all
them.
over.
I have 'em.
Somebody recently I saw a podcast, that they
Especially in the
talked about
spring.
that.
The spring lizard and the spring used to go hand in hand. And we'll find out in 2 weeks. I'll bring
Right.
some.
Yeah, bring some of your lizards. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
But this is a time of year where I
I
go with the square bill. Give me a little square bill. Prefer the red. And I just start covering some ground to see if I can get them going. Usually I can. They might not
So
be.
you're targeting 5 foot or less, 8 foot or less.
Yeah. I like that. I keep my boat in that 5 to 8 lane and burning crankbaits and jerk baits. And it's usually a way to put a limit in the boat. I don't always get a lot of big fish, but it's a way to get it going, get your day going, especially if it's
Fill
low
your
light.
bag out.
Yeah, especially if it's windy. If it's low light, I can't really see them on the beds anyway. And if I don't have anything like some true nice fish that I'm going to go there first thing because I want to be the first one to them because I know other people know that 7 pounder is just sitting there. I'm going to get on the bank and I'm going to throw my reaction baits, try to put some fish in the boat and go from there, and then if the weather's cooperating, and then I'll start cheating up looking, but that's sort of my approach.
Yeah, having that morning go to before you push up on beds, hoping there's no wind if they are in that bed mode. If they're just before the beds, let's say there are no beds, what's your approach then? Where you know there are no beds, what do you
I'm dragging a Carolina rig. I know it's boring, but I've had some really good days.
That you're targeting 10 foot, 15
No,
foot,
shallower.
even shallower.
I'm still 6 to 8, 6 to 10, and they're there, and
Sitting just off of it.
yeah, they're just hovering out, and dragging that Carolina rig. If I'm not picking them up on reaction baits, I'll grab a Carolina rig, and it just a good way to put fish in the boat. And and with the Carolina rig, it surprisingly you'll get into some of them bigger fish in 4 to 6 pound class, from time to time, and yeah, that's the way I approach it. But if you can find them on the beds, that's sort of fun.
Yeah,
that's fun. I like doing it.
What's your before they're on beds? What are you looking for?
Bait. I'm looking for bait. Last year I got
Forage,
into
bait.
forage, anything that they're eating on. When the water starts warming up, I want to look for rock. I want to look for trees. I want to look for bait, anything like that, because I think that they're feeding up because they're going to know what they're about to do, right? So go figure, throw an A-rig, right? If I get full of bait fish, right? Or the jerk bait, I'm going to throw that type of stuff in there and just try to catch as many as possible. Last year I caught like a 9 pound pike minnow on an A-rig. It was great.
Yeah.
But doing something like that, and then the other thing, thinking about the rock, is once it starts warming up like this and they're starting to move, they're going to take those paths to get to those positions. So if it's a rock line, they're taking that up. Crawdads are starting to move around and get out there. So I'm going to throw like a jig rig or a creature bait, a jig, something out there that might get that bigger bite of them moving up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's stuff.
That kind of good stuff. And I'm going to go like watermelon red, right? Like go-to
colors. Right?
I want deep water nearby.
Yeah. Well,
they're not there when it's first pushing up. I want deep water nearby. I don't care what lake it is. I want deep water nearby.
Yeah. Well,
if they have to swim a quarter mile to get to that deep water and they're not quite on beds yet, or they're not on beds yet, they're probably not going to be back in that pocket all the way. Are there going to be some in there? Absolutely. Are there going to be some giants in there? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the average fish is probably going to be closer to that deeper water than it is to the flat if they're not on beds yet.
Yeah. And the other thing too is the shallow, the 10 to 5 to 10, 5 to 15 secondary points. Like you say, the ditches, like if you here's a nice big cove and you don't see anything up, man, just fish right down the center of that thing.
Yeah.
They're somewhere around.
Yeah.
And you that's where once again, the Carolina rig for me, dragging
something slow
right down the middle.
That's actually, Tom Smith just said, there's another 3 days of storms coming. Do you think the fish will back off? I looked at the overnight lows. They're like low 40s.
So that ain't bad.
I don't think they're going to back off. That water temperature is not going to drop too much. If it got into the 30s, then yeah, they're going to back off.
Yeah.
But in that 40s, ideally, if it stays in the mid to high 40s, they're not going to back off at all. They're going to stay.
I think Clear Lake is a little different than most of these other bodies of water that we're talking about, just because Clear Lake's so much shallower that the temperature dropping a little bit.
It dropped at least 3 degrees.
Will affect that water faster than what, say, Berryessa, New Melones, Don Pedro, anything like that has that deep water. That water is not changing that much for those fish, right? And we I know we talked about it before. Since the 1960s, right? When it was the 60s that they did the research on Berryessa, at 70 foot down, the water temperature is 55 degrees.
Yeah, it changes by 0.1 or something like that degrees.
It's just stable
throughout the entire year of cycle.
Yeah. So
at the dam,
those deeper water areas,
it's more insulation.
That's why they go deep, because it's warm.
So for
It's
instance, Clear Lake, when you get a cold snap that comes through, a cold snap with no wind does not affect them as much as a cold snap with wind because it's so shallow. It mixes that water up when that wind hits.
Yeah.
Right.
If you get a cold snap with a large windstorm, they aren't happy. They're backing off.
Yeah.
Now, when that water starts to pick back up again, are they going to rush to the bank or rush back up again? Yeah, they're going to follow that warm water right back up again.
Yeah, because they're wanting to be up there.
Yeah, that's where they
Without a
want to
doubt.
be.
Yeah.
Just that storm pushed them off. As far as Berryessa with these 3 days that are coming, it might push them back like 5 foot, but I don't think it's gonna.
I don't think it's going to be enough that you're going to notice.
Yeah,
Like,
if they're back in the shallows, they'll pull out of the shallows, but they're gonna be right here. Like if the shallows are here,
Yeah.
they're going to the first comfortable spot they can go to. They're not going to keep going back multiple spots.
Yeah, I don't think there's much reason
In
to
my
fish.
opinion.
I don't think you need to fish deeper than 10 foot right now, 12 foot. I mean, I could
Well-
be so wrong, but
We
Well,
haven't
I
been
think-
on. We haven't been on Berryessa.
yeah, I haven't been there, but I'm just
well,
normally.
do fish spawn in 10 to 15 foot of water?
Sure they do.
Literally,
I think
seen
some of the
fish in
bigger-
20-foot spawning.
I think the bigger fish spawn deeper.
So why would you not go more than 10 foot?
I guess I could.
Right? Like,
I guess that's why I never
That's-
catch big fish.
Um,
I'm that 1 to 2 pound guy, man.
you did good at Clear Lake Plus.
No, October.
like,
yeah.
do I think Clear Lake was on beds Tuesday, yesterday, with the third day? There might have been a couple of beds made, but I don't think they were that primed to be
No,
on it.
I don't think so.
Is there a part of the lake? Is there parts of the lakes that's possible? Yeah, but it'd have to be some sort of backwaters where it's warm enough.
Mhm.
And I think realistically, Clear Lake right now, they have hitch on their head, on their brains more than.
Well,
Well, yeah,
Making
they're
babies.
the 49 to 52 degree. It's still a
If
little
you-
chilly.
if you guys look at some of the stuff that's happened at Clear Lake recently, right? Like we just had a cold snap right before our tournament, right? Which it was in the 30s, and we had all that bait fish that was in the Keys. We had a huge shad die off, right? Because
In certain areas,
in certain areas where
Yeah.
in the Keys, like where
the water temperature dropped faster
Dropped
than they
faster.
could leave.
So in those areas, with the sun, the way the weather turned over the weekend while we were out there fishing, and then into the beginning of this week, those areas are going to be warm.
Yeah. So at the same time, the same exact day that I found 49-degree water on Clear Lake, I also found 55-degree water
Yeah.
on Clear Lake in the same exact day.
That's-
And it wasn't an afternoon versus, it was within an hour of each other.
yeah, that's pretty.
That's a
Pretty
big
crazy.
variance.
Yeah, that's
What's
big.
going on, Eli?
Elow.
But yeah, no, I think that Clear Lake is more easier to change.
Mhm.
than-
Well, just being so
oddball.
shallow.
yeah,
It's just
and it's an oddball, right?
Yeah,
Being
it's
that-
its own entity, man. That lake is its own
well,
monster,
but like with that being said, that
and it's
there's
at over
some-
1,000 feet
There are
too.
some areas in other bodies of water that set up the same as Clear Lake.
Yes.
Like you were
They're
talking about,
relatable.
relatable. The way you fish could be very similar.
Oh, sure.
They may not be exact because
No.
they aren't exact, but the basic theories
Are similar.
Are
So
adaptable.
Clear Lake, Delta,
Mhm.
they fish very similar, right?
which is why you see a pro who does well at Delta also does well at Clear Lake.
Yeah. And then if you start thinking about it, if you think Berryessa into those two categories, they wouldn't match, right?
No,
But if you go to the east side,
very similar.
it's very similar.
Yeah.
Very
At least
similar
draw-
setup.
Yeah.
Can draw
Yeah.
parallels.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. And that's the way we approached, with only one day of pre-fishing, we approached Clear Lake was similar how I would fish Berryessa East Side. And it didn't work. But that was the game plan, and it
this-
didn't work.
This last weekend was a little,
Yeah, it was.
they
it
were
was weird.
funky
Yeah, they're
for
two.
sure.
changing every day.
Every
Champ
day
Kind
was
said,
different.
better fishing in the warm water, but he wouldn't eat them.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'm not eating clear lake fish.
No. I did catch a crappie this last tournament, and my partner, when he saw it, he put it in the bottom of the boat. I was like, what are you doing?
That's
Throw
funny.
that back.
That's funny.
He's like, man, that's good eating them.
Yeah, I did.
Not
That,
denying it. It is good eating.
that was the biggest fish I caught all week. It was a crappie.
I tell you what, it is really hard to be in the middle of a tournament and see the crappie and be like, I can't fish for those right now. Like, I got to go back to grinding and casting and not,
Corey says he doesn't see enough baits on the table.
I got bait right here. How do you know this isn't pure something besides water? Right? See, look, I shake it and it doesn't make bubbles. It could be anything.
It could be vodka.
Corey, I just try to keep up with you when you're here, buddy. Most of the time.
That's not easy.
Yeah, and then Big John and I drive us to dinner.
Yeah.
We got any other comments up there? I know they've been going crazy in the meantime.
There's been a few. Let me back up. Champ Kind said he ran into a sea lion last week in a creek at Apple Mountain Golf Course. He said he actually,
I don't know if we can talk about that kind of sea lion.
He said, I actually hit a goose with a golf ball on the same course. The goose lived. I'm not even a good hunter.
Well, it's like the people who deer hunt with their Buicks.
Yeah. Champ Kind said bluegill season whammy. Which, though, talking about the spring, talking about the bass, the bluegill come in right after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
The
spawn
bass.
after. Yeah.
So you're right on the right path.
May, June.
Side scan. That's how you can kind of tell whether, like, let's say it's bed fishing season and you're trying to figure out if it's on the back side of the back, like, is it about to go away? Is when you start seeing all the bluegill beds on side scan.
Yeah.
And something that's great for that is glide baits.
Yes, glide baits. Red Green 125 Miller said it would be nice if the weather would make up its mind.
Yeah, they're getting. You think we're getting swings? They're getting swings.
Oh yeah,
I've been watching their temperatures.
What's that? Tennessee?
Yeah, it's going. It is. We had one swing of snow to hot. They've had like 5 or 6 swings of it. Like
they don't know if they
and they stayed extra cold this year.
Yeah, they get that like 12 degrees, 18 degrees. Like
yeah. If you're
brutal.
keeping your clothes in storage, your winter clothes and your summer storage and clothes in storage, you're going every week to go change things back out.
Yeah.
Leave them out.
Mr. Groom said we could trade weather. It was 84 degrees, Oklahoma.
We had that yesterday.
That's where we were yesterday, which generally means it's coming your way.
64 today, 84 yesterday, 64 today, and blowing about 40.
Yeah, and I think I don't even think it hits the 60s the next couple days.
And then he also asked, "What am I drinking tonight?" That's why I held up water earlier.
Yeah,
Good.
Too many baits.
Champ Kind says he agrees that I should be breaking out the goodies though.
What the baits?
The baits, more baits. To be baits.
We do have baits in the refrigerator, but
yeah,
not tonight.
Ryan Ma says, "What's up?"
Oh, Ryan Ma, what's happening?
What's going on?
And then Marlon said we could get our chance April 19th. Catching crappie.
That reminds me. Thanks for reminding me, Marlon. Is that on 100%, Marlon? Before I go announcing things, I'm guessing by the way you're saying that it's April 19th. So April 19th, Berryessa Crappie Closet right here is doing a crappie tournament at Berryessa.
Yeah.
For all the details, because I don't have any details right now, reach out to Crappie Closet on Instagram or Facebook. Look for that emblem. We might be fishing that one.
Yeah, he said he's
might,
waiting on the bureau right now, though.
We might completely suck.
Yeah,
in that tournament, but we might be fishing it.
But it might be fun.
It'll be fun.
Yeah,
we might not catch a fish, but it'll be fun.
We're gonna be bass fishing. We'll be bringing a bunch of bass.
I tell you what, because our tournaments before that, I'm not gonna lie. While I am bass fishing, I will be on full lookout to see if I can see where crappie is. Because there's an area that I know of, but I don't know if they're crappie or bluegill because I didn't have crappie stuff with me that day.
Yep, got to do some pre-fish way you
Camo
fish.
Joe sticks in too.
Yeah.
Camo Joe.
Gregory Miller said that they're going to have another swing in about a week or two.
That's awesome.
Campbell Joe says, "Yeah, right. Sucks." And then, any of you guys throwing the dice bait?
I have not.
We did not go to Japan recently so that we could buy dice baits, since they're always sold out. Unlike the person who's asking.
Do you have any?
Do
you want us to make a video about it?
Aren't they really expensive?
I have no idea.
They are not cheap.
Like $10 a piece.
But I hear they're
thing?
decently durable. There's a couple different versions of it. I heard they're decently durable. And then I've also heard that they tear on the first fish. So I don't know what versions they're using or any of that.
I saw somebody had one on the other day. Corey says he's too poor to throw the dice bait.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think they're.
This is the guy who throws an LV and a big ass glide.
Yeah,
I'm too poor to buy the big ass glide that he throws.
I looked at a glide this week and I was like, oh man, I like this glide.
You flip it over and look at the price.
And I went, it'll stay there.
Wait, let me put this back gently.
And that's more expensive than my rod.
Yeah. Yeah, what is it? It's like having the rims on the old beater car.
Right.
You know, like the rims cost 3 times as much as the car.
That's funny. That's funny.
Ah,
gosh.
James is definitely holding out on us.
I do. I may have reached out to him when I saw him post on Instagram that he was on his honeymoon. I may have hit him up and said, "Hey, buddy, hook me up. I'll pay you back." And he did. He brought me some good stuff.
Nice.
Oh, Marlon says, get an ice tray and a skirt material, and he'll give us some dice baits.
Some dice baits.
I think somebody's made them out of get the bigger Cincos and just get a chunk of Cinco and thread
The funny
skirt
thing is
through it, and you got a dice bait.
I've mentioned it on here before, but there's a bait called a binky bug, Binky bug that they used to make, and it's not far from it.
Yeah.
It may not be a cube, but it does have the little rubber tentacles that came off of it.
Mm.
And there was one, it was like centipede, millipede, or something like that. That was kind of like that. There's been multiple versions that use the skirt material.
Yeah.
And just put it through a bait and let them flap around. I zero doubt that they work. I mean, besides effective.
How do they fish it? Is it a drop shot bait
Drop
or is it?
shot.
Okay.
Sometimes it's.
I've never seen anybody fish it.
Sometimes it's weightless.
Yeah.
So they have a weighted and an unweighted version. There's people who are throwing it basically like you throw a Cinco.
Wow.
But it's this little.
I've seen the bait,
thing.
but I've never seen it fished.
Right.
No, I've never seen one in person. I've never touched one.
That might be a really secret new bed fishing bait.
I guarantee you there's somebody who's throwing it out there and is really upset that we're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but I
know.
guarantee you somebody.
Marlon said we'll definitely catch crappie if we go.
All right. We'll get some insider information.
Yeah.
It's not the Bassmasters, so we can't get DQ'd for it.
Right. Eli said Jeff made some of those out of big Cincos.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah, I can
that. I've
imagine
seen a
that.
video of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Muth remelts, or he melts down stuff and all that, so he'd be able to melt stuff down. And
Yeah. And then Marlon said, remember the wacky wall walkers?
The what? Say that 3 times fast.
Wacky wall walkers.
I don't know. No, I don't know that
That
one.
a bait they sold at Kmart. What was that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm
Floyd
actually
jumped
curious.
in and said he caught a lot of fish on a binky bug.
And that is actually how I know about the binky bug.
It sounds familiar.
From him.
What's it called? Wacky
Wall walker. I don't know what that is.
Oh,
Oh,
it looks like
yeah.
a spider.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
You throw it up
Hopefully-
against the wall and it walks down. Remember?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I was
yeah.
thinking of, yeah, it was a toy. You guys used them fishing? Like,
Maybe he's just reminding it of it.
No,
of
the
what
funny
it
part
is.
is that
So
would catch a
for-
fish.
For those of you that want to know what we're looking at, if it'll work with me, that's what he's talking about.
yeah, you throw them up against the wall and they just walk down, mainly like your sliding glass door or something like that. And they'll walk
Oh,
down.
I forgot about those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll
They
work.
just tumble basically. It's almost like those what are those little balls that you throw up on the roof and they stick and then fall down.
Yeah.
Right, like
after
the
a
same
while.
material.
Yeah.
Sometimes they wait like a couple
Matlock
hours.
jumped
fall
on
down.
and said, Eli, shh.
He's talking about something.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's out of the big Sinkos.
Marlon jumped back on and said, maybe I'm a little older than you guys. I used them on the San Pablo Reservoir.
Floyd says another one too.
Yeah.
That's
They
big
used to take the reaper baits, the
The magic worms,
magic reaper and split the tail,
leech,
and
reaper.
then add the rubber.
Yeah,
line.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I
kind
remember
of
that.
thought about making my own dice.
Yeah, you
I
could.
thought about
You
it.
li- you
Well,
could.
what
And
Marlon
just
said
trying
was
it.
using a ice tray. You get a cube ice tray,
As your
and
mold.
you just get the
I'm gonna go shopping at the local arts and craft place and come
Well,
up
no,
with
you-
some.
you
Come up
could
with
get-
some hearts and some rainbows and some other stuff.
Unicorn
I'm gonna give them to
bait.
you. I'm gonna put some prickly things through there.
but you get
Imagine you win a tournament and they're like, "What'd you catch them on? This thing?
Yeah.
No, really? What'd you like? No, really? This thing?"
yeah. But if you use like a skirt bait or the skirt from anything in that rubber from a
Mhm.
jig,
Sure.
right, and put it in there and then just let it dry, and
Mhm.
that would be it, right?
Yeah, or just thread them through with the big needle.
Yeah, they got one of those arts and craft store has like a whole wall of the little
Uh-oh.
floppy
Marlon,
ice tray looking
You're
things.
you're thinking now.
It's for
You're-
chocolates.
You're in trouble, buddy.
It's for chocolates,
Sure.
but I mean,
Marlon said silicone molds.
yeah, the same thing.
Yeah.
They're just little like yeah, floppy silicone.
Mm.
Complete
Okay.
sidetracked off topic.
Yeah, our topic is.
All
All right, so
to get back to the actual topic.
so you started on before the spawn. What were we going to be doing? Everybody knows what they're going to do on spawn. Let's talk right after spawn, right? Like that post spawn. What, John? What are you going to be looking at? How are you going to be attacking post spawn to get those bigger fish to go, right? Because in the spawn time, once they do it and that big female moves off, the male stays, but the males aren't as big as those females.
No.
You want those bigger females. So what
No.
are you going to do? What are you going to throw? How are you going to target those bigger fish?
I start looking 10 to 20 depth range. Look for ledges, anywhere the first drop off, back in the gullies, in the pockets. Start migrating even back to the points. I mean, but I just start cheating out a little deeper, and just start looking for them. Try
What
to
are you
figure it
gonna
out.
do?
So the general answer for that from me would be reverse the way I went in.
Yeah.
So their steps that they went in, especially if you know their steps on the way in, like 'cause from fishing, you can check those on the way back out.
Yeah, I
Not
just
all
start.
the time. But
I'll start my 6 to 8, whatever, and then just start migrating out to, might have to get out to 15, 20. And for me, like I say, I just a lot of dragging. I'll just drag my Carolina rig out there. And
Still dragging.
still drag. That's the way I fish.
All
Good or bad. That's the way I like to fish.
he's out of options. He can't use spoons.
Right.
It's not quite spoon water there.
He's got a spinnerbait, a square bill. So yeah, spoon, spinnerbait, square bill, Carolina rig, drop shot.
Yeah, drop shot. And even sometimes I'll rip an LV, even though it's not the prime middle, still works.
LV can
They
work
can
in the
still,
springtime.
because you can just let them get right on down to the bottom and just.
What are you going to throw?
I am gonna not make decisions because that is the worst time of the year for me.
That's the worst time of the year.
Like when they just get off beds,
It could be difficult.
I have major struggles. Like May Berryessa, I'm a little worried about May Berryessa because that's gonna be post spawn. I don't know about that one. That is my struggle. That's my survival tournaments whenever I have those tournaments. I don't knock them out traditionally.
Yeah, you start cheating out a little deeper, you can find them. But it can be rough. There ain't no doubt about it. You can have a tough go, or you're still finding, the males, right? You're still where's the better?
You can catch the males all day, but
but where's
that's
the better
not going to be
fish?
a winning bag.
No, and but it's not easy to always find that either, right? You got to get in the right area. You can be slow rolling. You could be slow rolling your A rig out in 10 to 20, and hello, look out.
But all right, so isn't there? And there's been theories that there's multiple different spawns. So
Sure,
Yes.
can be.
could you?
But when you get far enough into it, almost all
but
the
you're-
waves have spawned.
But you're saying May.
If that's what you're talking about.
May could still be.
You could still have a
Beds.
wave, but
Yeah.
traditionally on Berryessa, mid-May, they are pretty much done. Like the last wave is up on there. The rest are done.
You think that's true at, say, Clear Lake?
No. Clear Lake, you can find bedfish till June.
How
They're
about
just built different. They're
how about-
same as Delta.
All right.
But again, back to what we talked about earlier, Delta and Clear Lake are a little bit different than the rest of these lakes.
True.
So, what's your theory of Berryessa? We're dealing with spots and smallmouth who spawn even
They're already,
soon. They're probably already done,
Yeah.
doing it and done.
they're like
Yeah, there's
55-degree weather, like or
Yeah.
water.
So I mean, and bed deeper. But I've found I've caught smallies on beds at Berryessa in 2 foot of water.
yes.
They don't have to they don't all
They'll
spawn
be-
deep, but a lot of them do.
I've had a time where I found smallies. Like I was fishing an area consistently over the weekend, and it was spots. It was smallmouths and spots. Then it was largemouth, and then it went back to smallmouth again. No spots, just smallmouth. And I
Yeah.
was like, wait, weren't you guys done?
Right.
And that's when I started to pay attention to the multiple waves.
Yeah,
There wasn't as many, but they were solid smallmouth.
I think the bulk of them are out a little deeper, but them smallies will sneak up there shallow and bed too. And little, more like the April where you think they're done, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, that's a smallie.
Yeah.
Sort of a trip. Like okay,
Yeah.
they're all a little different, but
One of my little tricks or things that I look for, I guess I should say, in the back half of the bed fishing season is I just go looking for bed fish deeper and deeper. Because usually that water starts clearing up around that time too, especially if you find certain areas. Like we mentioned earlier, I've seen a fish in literally 22 foot of water bedding. Or like my trolling motor's over the top of it and I'm looking straight down at it and it says 22 on my graph.
Yeah.
And I drop my drop shot down there, which takes a while when you're used to it being up close.
Right.
And as soon as it touched that bed, that fish that was off of it swam right over and picked it up. Didn't even hesitate, twitch, or nothing. Just done.
Yeah.
Sometimes those deeper ones are even dumber than the shallow ones.
and can be bigger.
Red Green Miller says Hobby Lobby, Walmart. You can find the silicone molds. Danny Groom says Kinky Bug was awesome at Hogan. That's James's version.
Kinky bug.
It was It was like a sweet beaver, but with it threaded through the body.
body,
of it.
yeah.
You remember those?
Yep, I do.
My dad had some of those.
Yep, I remember those.
I'm a little worried about Googling this one though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's what your dad was. Yeah, I remember what your dad was talking about with the big reapers with the body had it'd be like 3 strands or 6
Yeah.
strands through the bodies. Hmm.
Um,
I forgot about
Let's put
those.
it this way: it doesn't come up, and what does come up? Oh no! Well, there's kinky beaver, but there's no kinky bug. Otherwise, I'd show you guys.
that's old school stuff though. Like that was when we were kids. My dad threw those all the time.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Marlon says popper first thing in the morning. I agree. I agree with
That is also really good for when they're on beds. also.
Yes.
A popper or a frog or some sort of
Yeah.
very slow topwater bait is really good. For some reason, those females just they'll come off the bed. Like if they're near it, they'll just come up and slurp them.
Yeah. Corey says there's a very important thing that shad do at the tail end of the bass spawn.
For like 30 minutes for like 1 week.
Yep.
That's shad spawn.
Yeah. And when they do that, you better be throwing a square bill.
Square bill, something white, something moving.
Yep.
Something white and something moving.
Me personally, after they spawn, those bigger girls, after they spawn, I want to throw a bigger bait because they're going to be hungry and they're going to be wanting that bait. So I'll be throwing a glide bait, stuff like that, out there, trying to get them to come up and eat something that's going to fill them up
Yeah,
and help them out.
I'm slowly migrating and purchasing a few baits like that. So I need to learn those.
Like this one?
tactics. Not like that one. Not quite that
Not-
advanced.
not
I'm not
quite like
that
this?
advanced. More like the one over there.
This one?
Yeah, there you go.
This one needs to be altered for it to look good.
No, it is altered.
That's what I'm saying though. When you buy
Oh,
it,
yeah.
you have to alter it.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
shave the joints,
That is a really good bait once it's altered.
especially in that color.
Yes. Threadwood.
Um,
Any predictions on how one Bass Clear Lake is going to be won?
what
And
date is it?
3-day wait total, and what is the 3-day wait total?
When is the tournament?
Heard it's a big field.
Oh, it's going to be 3 really big. It's going to be a lot of weight.
Yeah.
What the only reason why I'm even thinking about wondering what the lake is going to be or what the weather is going to be April 9th through 11th.
It's going to be big.
It's going to be big bags.
And there's going to be
I would
a lot of
say
boats, and it's going to be touching. I'd predict that
They'll probably
3
be on
days.
beds by then too.
It'll be bad.
3 days they're going to be touching 90.
In 3 days.
3
You think they
days?
can go 30 a day?
Yes. The way that lake.
Way the lake's-
I don't think it can
So-
consistently stay 30 a day with that many people. I don't think the people themselves, like, if
That's
you
my
had
thought.
if you had low field count, somebody could get back into an area. But I think that there's gonna be so much animosity between all the boats that it's gonna cut down. Like you'll have like a 30 bag, a 25 bag, and a 28 bag. But I don't think anybody's gonna go 30 all 3 days.
No, I'm
My opinion.
thinking.
My
I'm
opinion.
thinking there's going to be somebody that goes 40 and then a couple 30s.
Yeah, because 37 just took BBT.
Yeah.
Or 30,
Yeah.
37, 36.
37.
How'd you like to get 36 pounds
Yeah.
and be like, congratulations, you got second?
That just happened.
That is
With a 50
ridiculous.
boat field.
If it, yeah,
Yeah.
55 boats and the top 5 had over 30.
Corey
Yeah.
says 95 pounds. See, Corey, that's why you should be here with me.
Corey is a glass 3/4 full kind of guy when it comes to weight.
I'm half full. Too.
I'm a glass quarter full when it comes
No,
to weight.
you're like your glass is on the empty side.
I'm thinking about 85 pounds.
85 pounds.
85 will win it.
I think it'll be like 25, 26 a day.
Well,
average. So I'm going to say 75.
If they don't get some funky weather system with massive wind, something that just wipes out the sight fishing, that's the thing too.
But I think if it's good weather,
good weather weights, I say 85.
perfect weather, they'll crack 80, but I think it'll be that 75.
Ryan Moss says he heard that there's about 177 boats for it.
Man, that place is going to get beat down.
Yeah.
But it's been getting beat down and still producing.
The problem is, well, actually, by that time in April, it doesn't fish as small.
Right.
It does open up.
It's going to be spreading out.
Which I hope happens for the tournament itself. It needs to spread out, right? Because it's ridiculous. It's small right now.
Floyd says I'm going to throw a tango dancer. It's definitely a bigger bait.
It is that. Ooh, that was post.
Wasn't that the name of your dad's old boat?
That was 100% post spawn.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good bait for that. Corey says he's going to throw a minnow and a glide and a few bedfish.
Yeah, I think that's what he's thinking that will be the winner of that. I think the minnow will. Yeah, because that's the south end of Clear Lake starts popping off around there. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking north end. Mm-hmm. Yeah, minnow, glide, bedfish.
Yeah.
I'm still going to stick with 25 a day just because of the animosity of it.
So you're only going 75?
I'm only going 75.
Oh, we'll see.
75 top end would be 26 a day.
This is a recorded line. We know me and Corey are going to be in the
We can all go back.
We're going to go back and see how.
Yeah, because you're high, he's middle, I'm low.
Yeah.
I think that if you were able to get on there with a 50 boat field, then I could see.
There's going to be some good sticks out there. Yeah. And I don't care who you are. If you're a good stick, you're going
to figure it out.
You're going to figure them out.
Yeah. And if, like, say, if the lake starts opening up, that'll be huge because and it will. It's trying to right now, but the weather's just been so weird.
Yeah.
Needs to settle down a little bit, and it'll go off.
I think that's pretty much it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we got plenty more we could talk about, but I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. Well, I'm already hungry.
We knew you were hungry.
I was hungry when I came in here.
He came in here. He had some leftover chips that was in here, and he smashed.
Yeah, you used to have chips here.
Yeah, I used to have chips.
They weren't my chips. They were his chips.
Oh, okay.
They were his daughter's chips.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they were his chips.
They were my chips.
They're gone chips, that's for sure.
Yeah. I left them here on purpose because I knew I was coming back. You needed a snack.
Got a snickety snack.
A little snickety snack for food.
One last one. What do we got? Heading to something? Eli, to pop up for you?
Yeah.
Arcata? Heading to Arcata and back tomorrow night. That doesn't sound close.
No, it doesn't sound close at all. I don't know where that is.
Arcadia?
I got an Arcadia fishing rod, but I don't know where the heck that is.
I think it's down south or something. We're going to have to Google it.
Yeah, we'll Google.
But it doesn't sound close because if you don't know where it's at, it's not close.
No, gotta be in the boondocks somewhere.
Just like you ever learn, if you ever go through the dating apps.
Nope, not gonna happen.
If you ever go through those dating apps, if you see somebody and you don't know what city it's in,
north of Eureka.
it ain't close. You don't even need to Google it.
Parts unknown.
Yeah, you just move on.
North of Eureka. He's gonna be deep.
Deep.
Yeah, I'm good. That's 3 out. That's 3+ hours up, 3+ hours back.
That's more than that.
Yeah, that's 4.
But you can stop at Clear Lake on the way home.
You can stop at the burrito place on the way
home.
home.
Man, that's so worth it.
If they're still open by the time you get back. Yeah. That's pretty much it, guys.
What?
That's pretty much it, guys.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
now we got that.
Okay,
y'all?
got it. Y'all.
Oh, my water is really kicking in. All right, y'all. If you have any questions, ask them down below. If you have any other questions, you can hit me up on Instagram. And until next time, I hope you get them. Food, food.